Hello and good evening, Chicago. Welcome back in to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Well, that was quick while it lasted, wasn't it? It didn't take very long at all for the Chicago Bears to get back to their losing ways, dropping one on the lakefront yesterday to the Minnesota Vikings. And then just simply to add insult to injury, Justin Fields dislocated his thumb. There is no definite timetable for his return at this point. And unfortunately, at this point, we have to ask the question, have we reached the beginning of the end game here? We will dive into that with the Bears. There are some happy beginnings going on in the city, though. Connor Bedard made his NHL debut last week with the Blackhawks, and it went well. It went well enough. He is taking the league by storm to get things started. The Blackhawks themselves are playing tonight. We will catch in on that. And then there's also a new coach in town with the Chicago Sky. We will discuss that and other things all throughout the city. All that and more coming right on up. Buckling on up, everybody. Let's have some fun. And once again, hello and good evening, everyone. You have found your way in to Chi-Town Weekly here at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Lots going on here tonight. I am your host, Adam Karnick. So happy that you are here with me. Lots to go through, lots to discuss, lots to go over and dissect as usual. So we will be getting into all of it. Of course, lots of Bears talk and some other stuff going on around the city as well. But first, as we do every week, we do want to acknowledge our sponsor here at the station, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, the single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar and high in protein. This is some of the best jerky you can get your hands on, and with a variety of flavors ranging from classic barbecue brisket to the more exotic like cowboy beef jerky sweet and hot, or the ghost pepper premium brisket, all the way up to the Carolina Reaper premium brisket. There will be something for you. Plus, the packaging is just so cool. It is, dare I say it, out of this world, with the astronaut on the cover, the different planets in the background, and then different information about outer space on the back of the packaging as well. All kinds of cool things there. Huge shout out again to our sponsor, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. For the last 9.5 years now, IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Be sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month, pages dedicated to each of our shows, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and, of course, stop by and check out the merchandise. And, of course, that, again, you can follow us on IE Sports Radio at all of the major social platforms at IE Sports Radio. You can also follow along with this show on IE Sports Radio on X at IESRC. That's how you can follow along with Chi-Town Weekly. Or you can follow along with me personally on X. I am at Adam_Karnick. And if you are listening live here tonight on Monday night, hop on into the chat room. Taryn Rodriguez is already there. Mike Pat has jumped in. We can interact and have some fun there. Or if you're listening later on in the week as a podcast, whether it's on Spreaker, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or you're listening live, but you just want to sit back and listen, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm here for you in whatever way floats your boat. That game yesterday on the lakefront. We thought we finally had turned the corner. We thought we were done with this. You know, we thought that they'd figured some things out. That they had Getsy had figured out how to adjust the offense, that they'd figured out how to unlock Justin Fields. And then we had that game yesterday where they had 10 days to prepare for that, and it looked like they'd had half of one, where they weren't ready. And everything was lined up for you. You were coming off of a win. The momentum was on your side. The Vikings had just lost their best receiver. Not just their best receiver, but arguably the best receiver in the game wasn't going to play. Their secondary is somewhat suspect. The Vikings this year have been known for giving up big plays, deep plays in the passing game. They've been turnover prone. This seemed to line up for you. And instead, you get that, where it just, you reverted back to what you had been during the losing streak. You had an opportunity to do something that you hadn't done in nearly 2 calendar years, in nearly 2 football seasons, and that's have a winning streak. Instead, it stops once again at 1. The Bears under Matt Eberflus are 0-4 when coming off of a win. They have yet to string wins together. Their last winning streak of any length was 2 at the end of the 2021 season, when you had Nick Foles and Andy Dalton play at quarterback for those 2 games. Justin Fields has never in his professional career been part of a 2-game winning streak. No, I take that back. You have to go back to the very early part of his rookie year. He's had 1. He's had 1 winning streak of 2 games. And then to just put insult to injury, Fields gets hurt. Mike Pat, and to add insult to injury for Mike Pat, only two of his two Vikings guys on his fantasy team only managed to get 23 total points for him. Who'd you have, Mike? Just out of morbid curiosity, who'd you have? Mike Pat in the chat room with us tonight. He gets to finally relax and breathe a little bit. His Commanders couldn't beat the Bears, but they could beat the Falcons on the road, apparently. Go figure that one. The NFL is a weird place, isn't it? But then to add the ultimate insult to injury, Justin Fields goes down. Alexander Mattison and Jordan Addison. Okay, well, Alexander Mattison is I think I talked about this last week. He's one of my favorite player names. I just want to sing the Hamilton song to his name. It's funny you bring up Jordan Addison. I got started to the game late yesterday. I've gone back and watched the whole thing, but I got started a little late on it. I turned on the television just in time to see Jordan Addison catch that touchdown pass. That was literally the first thing I saw. I turned it on and it's, oh, look, Kirk Cousins hits Jordan Addison for a touchdown. Oh, look, the Vikings are up. Yay. I've then gone back and watched everything, but the big insult, then you have Fields go down and dislocates his thumb. And so you have to have Tyson Bagent come out. And I know there's a contingency of Bears fans that then genuinely got excited that finally we get to see the Bagent kid. I mean, hell, it was one of the lead articles in the Sun-Times this morning. Is thank God we get to see Tyson Bagent. I want to talk about that for a minute, and then we'll get on to the rest of this. I know that in Chicago, the backup quarterback is the favored son. It doesn't matter who he is, and it doesn't matter how many times that the backup quarterback has ultimately proved to be a pumpkin in disguise. But there's a portion of the fan base that just always, let's turn it over to the backup. He can't be worse. Better the devil you don't know than the one you do. And this particular guy hasn't broken our heart before. Therefore, he might be the one. Backups are backups for a reason and in the NFL. And in this case, holy cow. I know he's an amazing story, that he's an undrafted kid out of Division II Shepherd that has had to fight, claw, and earn his way onto this roster and into the backup quarterback spot for the Chicago Bears. I get it. It's an awesome story. It's something that we can all relate to because we put ourselves in his shoes. And oh man, because I'm not the best athlete in the world. Oh, look at this kid. He just, that try hard blue collar attitude, and look at him. Oh yeah, he's going to do something. There is a monumental difference between playing Colorado of the Mines, the last team he had played an actual game against, and even a crappy team like a crappy NFL team like the Minnesota Vikings. He had a drive. Yes, he did. He engineered a touchdown drive. And he looked like he belonged. Great. Bravo. Good for you. Genuinely. I mean that. And I also agree and concur that it makes the most sense for as long as Fields is out to play Bagent. It absolutely genuinely makes sense. This season is going nowhere really quickly. I have no desire to watch Nathan Peterman play a single snap this season. But with that being said, there's no way Tyson Bagent is ready to suddenly become Superman, Batman, Captain America, whomever, rolled into one and go out there, put the Bears on his back, and go win some games. It's not happening. It's just not. I'd love for him to prove me wrong. Please, prove me wrong. I welcome it. I relish it. But it's not going to happen. He's not ready yet. Maybe a year from now. Maybe. But right now, no way. He's just not. There's too big of a difference between Division II and the NFL. And I know he's been in the NFL for a month and a half now, but it's not going to happen. So for as much time as they're forced to play Bagent, they're going to be in a situation where it's going to be very difficult to win. Very difficult to win. And he didn't play all that well overall. He had a drive that looked good. And then the rest of it, he lost a fumble. And he threw a horrible interception where he underthrew a wide open receiver. It's not like he engineered 4 straight scoring drives or something like that, which we just saw Justin Fields do, by the way. For everybody saying that, oh man, he didn't do any worse than Fields. Yeah, Fields didn't do very well yesterday, but we've seen some things there. So pump the brakes on Tyson Bagent suddenly becoming everything for you. It's going to be painful for all the starts he has. And especially now that teams have tape on him, it's going to be painful. That's just what it's going to be. Get used to that idea. All right, now I'm off my soapbox about Tyson Bagent. So where are we at then? We got news today. It came out last night that the injury Fields sustained was he dislocated his thumb on his throwing hand. He popped it back into place while he was on the field. I don't like thinking about that, but good for him that it worked. But he couldn't grip the ball. X-rays were negative. Which means he didn't break a bone. He had an MRI today. Results of it have not been made known to the press. So Eberflus talks today. And they don't know. Officially, Fields is doubtful for Sunday, which officially means that he has a 25% chance of playing. I think that's being generous. I don't think he plays this week. I think instead we're going to be faced with the glorious quarterback matchup because the Raiders are coming into town, who are now suddenly 3-3 and on a 2-game winning streak. Ugh. You can hear, if you want to do some preview and some scouting, be sure to check out Sin City Sports tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Cale Henderson does an awesome job talking all things Vegas, but definitely talking Raiders. So he'll have a lot to talk about their current winning streak. They're without a starting quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo had to be hospitalized yesterday. So I wouldn't expect Garoppolo to play. Now, it does sound like there was good news coming out of Vegas and that it's not as bad as they feared. I would still expect that Garoppolo won't play on Sunday. So we're going to be the excellent quarterback duel of the reanimated corpse of Brian Hoyer, 15th year in the NFL, versus undrafted 23-year-old Division II phenom Tyson Bagent. Oh, boy. I don't think Fox has a crew low enough for that game. They have like a G level crew. I think that's what the Bears had, the D crew on Sunday. I think that crew's too good. We got to go down like G or H or I think, for this game. But I feel like it's going to be Fields. It could be a while. They have not ruled out the necessity of surgery, and they do not have a timeline for Fields' return. Mike Pat, that is quite possibly the worst quarterback matchup I've ever heard. Oh, you just haven't dug deep enough yet, good sir. I will look it up during the break. I could come up with a worse. I could come up with a worse one for you. I'll find it in the break. It was a Bears-Panthers game about a decade ago or so, and it was ugh. So unfortunately, I've watched worse ones. But you're right. It's definitely not must-see television. It's definitely not a big one. Not riveting anyway. So where does that leave us now? Records aside, playoff ambitions aside, your primary goal for the end of this season, you needed 1,000% certainty on Fields. You needed clarity on Justin Fields. You needed to know that he took the next step. A step that I fully expected him to take. If he's going to be out he's in year 3. Next year is year 4. They have an option that they need to pick up for year 5. They need to make a decision on that. This needs to be it. You need to have your clarity. If he's going to miss extended time, if he's going to miss 3, 4, 5, 6 games, which if he needs surgery, that's entirely possible. It's also entirely possible he only misses 1 game. It's remotely possible he doesn't miss any, but I'm not really counting that. But if he's going to miss significant time, you're not going to be able to have that clarity at the end of this season. Which means you've got to move on. You have to, as the Bears. You can't afford to give it one more year. And here's why. A lot of people are coming at it from a financial standpoint, that if the Bears have to decide this offseason whether or not to pick up the 5th-year option on him, and that 5th-year option is going to be north of $24 million. Okay, fine. As actually, it's Kale who puts it so well on Sin City Sports. The salary cap is really just an accountant's game of, I move this money here and put that money there, and then voila, we're under the cap. The money doesn't bother me on why the Bears have to make the decision. As it sits right now, the Bears are virtually guaranteed a top 5 pick in this year's draft because they own the Carolina Panthers pick along with their own. And the Panthers right now are the only winless team in the NFL. They're sitting at 0-6. The Bears are one of a handful of teams sitting with just 1 win at this point in the season. So it is a virtual certainty right now that the Bears will have a top 5 pick. And I would say that they're a virtual certainty to have both of their first-round picks in the top 10. And it's not outside of the realm of possibility that both of them are in the top 5. There are 5 one-win teams right now in the NFL, and there's a winless team. The Bears are in that mess. They would be, if it ended right now, they'd have 2 top 5 picks. Mike Pat, I want the chaos of the Bears having picks 1 and 2. It looked like that a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that's how it was a couple weeks ago. The Bears had the Panthers pick was number 1 and the Bears pick was number 2. So that's still very much in the cards. Last year, you didn't like any of the quarterbacks more than you did Justin Fields. I agreed with that conclusion. You traded. You did what you did. This year, there are already 2 guys right now that, one guy in particular, that basically every single scout that has been doing this for not just guys like myself who, all right, I talk in a microphone and I listen to what other people have to say, but people who genuinely do this for a living are saying one of these kids is the best quarterback prospect they've seen in a decade. The other one is another guy that a lot of people are speaking very highly of and is almost certainly going to go top 5. You've also got a wide receiver that is you hate to heap unrealistic expectations on a kid right out of the gate, but is a potential Hall of Fame caliber wide receiver just waiting there in the wings. And we all know, or we should know, that the way draft stuff goes, because the quarterback position is so important, there will be a third one that'll crop up by the time February, March, April rolls around. There will be at least one more quarterback in the mix there. You can't afford to keep passing on these guys and just assume we're going to wind up with a draft pick down here again. We're going to get another opportunity at one of these guys. We'll wait again. We'll wait again. If you have that number 1 overall pick and you don't have clarity on Fields, you have to move on. You just have to. You've got to trade Fields, get what you can, pick the guy that you're going to go with, and I'd also couple him with a new head coach because I don't think Matt Eberflus is worth a damn anymore. I saw a great statistic earlier. He officially now has the worst winning percentage of any coach in Chicago Bears history. I saw a great statistic today. He has the same winning percentage that Greg Maddux had as a batting average when he played for the Cubs. And remember, Greg Maddux was a pitcher. He's not supposed to be hitting the ball. Context is important. 174. Is that a good number? Well, it depends. When you're talking about a pitcher's batting average, it's fine. When you're talking about a coach's winning percentage, it's terrible. So get Eberflus out of here. Get the staff out of here. Bring in a new coach. Bring in a new staff. And if they want Fields, great. If they don't want Fields, identify your guy and get him. You can't afford to give it one more year with Fields. You've got to know. And so I think we are unfortunately at the beginning of the end. And it sucks. because I'm going to hang on to this for a long time. Fields is the best damn quarterback prospect we've ever seen in this town. And I hope that if he gets shipped off, he kills it in whatever team he gets to. Be it Atlanta, be it New Orleans, be it Vegas, be it Seattle, wherever. I hope he kills it. Wins multiple MVPs, wins a ring. I want that for him because he's too damn good to not. And it sucks that the Bears screwed him up. But that's where we're at. Especially if he's going to be out 4, 5, 6 weeks with this dislocated thumb. You're going to have to move on. So unfortunately, I think this is the beginning of the end. I think we'll see Bagent for a few games. Then we'll have Fields come back. He'll finish out the string. He'll do what he does. But at the end, we're not going to have the clarity that we want. God, do not! Oh, my God. Oh, my mother's killing me. My mother is literally stabbing me in the heart. I'm not even going to read that. I will not speak that evil into existence. I will not. I will go crawl into a corner and hide and weep bitter tears for 15 years. I cannot speak that evil into existence. We're just going to move on. Unless you're referring to Edmonton of the Canadian Football League. That's the only way that's acceptable. Gah. But it's just it's a terrible feeling of where we're at, and especially compared to a week ago where we had some optimism, to now be back in this place where there's not any anymore. It's a gut punch. All right, we're going to take a quick break now that I have just absolutely destroyed the mood. Now that I've absolutely killed the mood, though apparently not to everybody, as I'm seeing laughter in the chat room here. Hope is not completely lost all throughout the city. There may not be hope on the immediate horizon for one of our teams, but we did get to see the official unveiling for who we hope to be a bright, young, stud athlete in this city for the next, hopefully, decade plus. We will talk about Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks next here on Chi-Town Weekly, part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right. Welcome to AZ Sports Daily. I'm your host, Kiernan Daly, bringing the heat to Arizona sports. There's no discrimination here. We're going to talk about every sports team, professional and college. The show is all about you, the listener. I'm here to entertain you. Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? It's going to be fun, high energy. You may not agree with what I say. That's okay. Let me hear you. Let's talk about it. Join me every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on AZ Sports Daily. That's AZ Sports, Daily, and at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No. Not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr., and I'm welcoming you to take another lap with the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. Yes, this is the Extra Mile with me and my co-hosts Christopher Lehman and Michael Ward. We talk everything racing from NASCAR to IndyCar to Formula One to limited hydroplanes, endurance racing, the NHRA, and more. So come join us for an hour of great racing talk and a lot of fun as well on the Extra Mile, Thursdays at 8 p.m. only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, white tea. We're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome to Davidson and Mikey Two Guns hopping into the chat during the break there. Did a lot of Bears there, that opening segment. The frustration of not only the losing returning to Soldier Field, but then the other frustrating part of Justin Fields getting hurt. I do want to kind of close the loop a little bit. Mike Pat had brought up in the chat I had brought up that it was possible that we're looking at this Sunday of a quarterback matchup of 15-year veteran, journeyman veteran Brian Hoyer for the Raiders against 23-year-old undrafted rookie out of Division II Tyson Bagent making his first start for the Bears. So Hoyer versus Bagent, and Mike Pat had commented that is quite possibly the worst quarterback matchup I've ever heard. Mike, I promised you that unfortunately I've watched a worse one, and during the break I found it for you. Bears-Panthers back in 2010. Now the Bears won the game 23-6, but get this for some starting quarterbacking play. I'll give you the statistics first of all. The winning quarterback. Here are the winning quarterback's numbers. We had 4 different quarterbacks throw passes in this game. Here were the winning quarterback's numbers. 6 of 16 for 32 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 6.3, and a QBR of 0.4. And that's the winning quarterback, mind you. The losing quarterback was 9 of 22 for 61 yards, 0 touchdowns, an interception, a quarterback rating of 29.7, a ESPN QBR of 5. The winning quarterback was Todd Collins for the Bears. The losing quarterback was Jimmy Clausen of the Panthers. The Bears then had Caleb Haney come in for a drive. He actually had the best numbers of the 4 guys. He was 2 of 3 for 19 yards. No touchdowns or interceptions. A quarterback rating of 84. A QBR of 5.5. And then also Matt Moore came into the game at one point for the Panthers, and he was 5 of 10 for 35 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, a quarterback rating of 18.8, a QBR of 44.7. So between the 4 quarterbacks that played in this game, only one of them threw more completions than they did incompletions. None of them threw a touchdown. 3 of the 4 threw interceptions, and 2 of the 4 threw multiple interceptions. That was just, oh my gosh, what a horrible game for anyone that loves modern football. For those of us that, were born and raised on you hand the ball off and you play suffocating defense, it was amazing because the Bears defense, this was Julius Peppers had his return to Carolina in this game. You still had Urlacher playing at a high level at this point in the game. You had Charles Tillman was at the peak of his powers at this point. You had just some outstanding defensive work. I believe, if I remember correctly, let me pull up the scoring recap. I believe the Bears defense scored at least one. No, actually, the Bears defense did not score. Matt Forte had a couple of touchdown runs, and then it was Robbie Gould just kicking field goals from everywhere. But the Bears defense did generate 3 takeaways to go along with the Bears' 4 giveaways that they had. That was easily the worst quarterbacked game I've had the, I don't want to say pleasure, opportunity to watch. So hopefully what we see on this coming Sunday won't be that unwatchable for us. Hopefully not, anyway. All right, but I did promise that we were going to move on to some bigger and better things. The Chicago Blackhawks. They are playing in Toronto tonight, and after 2 periods, they are up 3-1. All the goals were scored in the second period. John Tavares got things started first for the Maple Leafs with a score. Then the the Blackhawks have had goals by Entwistle, Corey Perry, and Tyler Johnson have scored goals tonight for the Blackhawks. So at the end of 2, they are up 3-1. But let's face it, for most of us, those aren't the names that we're caring about at this point in the NHL. It's Connor Bedard's world, and we're all just living in it. Bedard, to this point, has not factored into the scoring sheet. He has 3 shots on goal in just under 14 minutes of ice time. But he has not gotten a goal or an assist yet tonight. But that is not normal for the 18-year-old phenom out of North Vancouver, British Columbia. In his time with the Hawks, in his 3 short games, he has yet to be kept off the score sheet. He's got an assist in 2 of the games, and he did score his first NHL goal in his second game. And in fact, I wanted to play a little bit of audio for you because Matthew Owens, our friend over at USRN, our sister station, happened to be on the call for Connor Bedard's first goal. So I wanted to play that audio for you.
Korchinski at the near red line lost it, had his pocket picked by Coyle, who's over the line, lifted it in behind Bedard to the near corner. Bedard, though, chopping away at it, grabs it back, and here comes Chicago. Ryan Donato drops it off into the Chicago zone for Seth Jones. Jones in his defensive zone to our right, sweeps it rink wide to the left. Korchinski through center, Connor Bedard brings it in over the line, dropped off for Donato. The return right circle, Bedard, a shot knocked down. Save, Bedard got to it behind the net, and a wraparound, he scores! And there is the first career goal for 18-year-old Connor Bedard. The first of surely many to come in a career that seems destined to be great. Connor Bedard on a wraparound tucks it in behind Olmark. It's 1-0 Chicago, and it's a lifetime dream that has come true for Connor Bedard. A shot saved by Olmark, the rebound to the trapezoid. Bedard got to it, and on the wraparound, he sticks in career goal number 1.
Thank you again to Matthew Owens of USRN for the use of that audio and that excellent call. So Connor Bedard last week makes his official NHL debut, gets an assist in his first game, and then in his second game against the Boston Bruins last Wednesday, he got career goal number 1. And it actually happened to put the Blackhawks temporarily in the league. I was actually listening to Mikey Two Guns do his show, Our Bleepin' City, during the time, and got very excited in the chat. It was, oh my gosh, Connor Bedard scored. He scored. He got his first goal. And I think it kind of made Mikey a little upset. Sorry about that, Mikey. But it's okay. It all ended well. Boston came back and won. But that's hardly the point at this point for the Blackhawks this season. We know that the Blackhawks aren't going to be very good this season. But so far, in an insanely short sample size, just 3 games and 2 periods, but so far, Bedard is showing he absolutely belongs in the NHL. You always worry when you bring up bring in a teenager into the major leagues, whether it's hockey, whether it's the NBA, whether it's MLB. It can't happen in the NFL. Whether it's MLS, whatever it is, you always wonder about, you're throwing almost literally a boy in against the wall, in against men, grown men. You look at some of these guys that are out there on the ice, and you're just like, that he's twice the size of Connor. Connor's still got baby fat on him. And here's, some of these 28, 29, 30, 31-year-old defensive men who are, 230 pounds and just grizzled and know how to get things done. You worry how he's going to hold up, but through 3 games and 2 periods, absolutely he belongs. The moment has not been too big for him, and he's exciting to watch. I read a great article over the weekend. Friend of the program, Ben Pope of the Chicago Sun-Times, who's the Blackhawks beat writer, had him on the show a couple of times, was talking about it, how you can not only do you feel it out on the ice that it's Bedard is out there, the numbers reflect it, that there is a huge increase in offensive efficiency and offensive output and just better overall play when Bedard is out there on the ice for the Blackhawks. So he's having a huge effect early on in the season. Doesn't mean that the Blackhawks are going to be any good at all this season, unfortunately. They did win their first game. They've lost their last 2, though they're on a nice lead right now, 3-1 over the Maple Leafs right now. And the Maple Leafs, they're 2-0 coming into play tonight. So this would be a nice feather in the cap for the Hawks if they could hold on to this one. Soderblom in net, which is good for the Hawks of what they have for options in net. Soderblom's definitely their best. So hopefully they can hang on to this one. But it just shows that hopefully not all is horrible right now for Chicago sports. Hopefully we do have some good times upcoming. They may not manifest themselves for a season or 2 yet, but we at least have something to hang our hats on. All right, we're going to take ourselves a quick little break. Taryn actually went before us tonight with Set Point, so we've got a little bit of time after the show tonight. I'm not going to go crazy, but I do have one more thing that I want to touch on before we get out of here. So we will take a quick little break and then reset ourselves for one last quick segment before we get out of here tonight. You are listening to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Koenig with you here for just a couple of more minutes before we get out here tonight. I want to welcome Patty Bax of the Buffalo Huddle jumping in the chat. I think she's finally warmed up and gotten some rest and calmed down. She was at the Bills-Giants game last night that went... They definitely went the distance, came down to not only the full 60 minutes, they had to run an extra play at the end of the game, so that game came down to the wire, and I know Patty, I'm sure, had to wind down from that a little bit, so thank you, Patty, for hopping into the chat room here with us tonight. Wanted to close the show out tonight with a little bit from the Chicago Sky. You may remember from over the summer that head coach and general manager James Wade very abruptly left the team to go take an assistant position with the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, which left a huge void at the top for the Chicago Sky. You're without your head coach and you're without your general manager. So they tagged... And I'm sorry, I just had the name in front. There we go. They had tagged Emery Vattensever to serve as the interim in both of those roles. But there was not necessarily intention that Vattensever, even though he'd been with the franchise for several years, there really wasn't the expectation or the intent that he would have the permanent job in any way, shape, or form there, that he was truly nothing other than a placeholder for the time being. Well, the Sky made it official. Last week, Thursday, they announced Teresa Weatherspoon will fill the head coaching role. Davidson Crooks in the chat room. He's also co-host of Fast Break on Sunday nights, our NBA show here on IE Sports Radio, so I know you can lend some things to this conversation a little bit as well. But Teresa Weatherspoon, by all accounts, seems like a slam dunk hire. Annie Costabile of the Chicago Sun-Times helped break the story, break everything down last week. And she has reported as well that Weatherspoon was Chicago's number one target all along, that they actually started talking with her somewhat formally they started having conversations with her in July, and it got more serious in August, that they really started sitting down and hammering some things out, and then they started talking money in September. So they were very serious about adding her. She was serious about coming. The Sky's CEO Adam Fox did say that there were other people that they talked to. He didn't give a specific number, but it seems like in all actuality and in all reality, that Weatherspoon was their top choice and the only one that they really, really, really ever got serious about. Weatherspoon, to her credit, a quote from her, "I'm excited to be part of the Chicago Sky family. To be the leader as head coach of an organization in a city with so much history and culture is a dream come true. The things that we are about to do as a team, a business, and in the community will be rooted in excitement, excellence, and hard work." Kalia Copper signed off on the move. She and Witherspoon did meet and interact towards the end of the season. Copper kind of giving it her seal of approval, if you will. Copper did say that she wasn't aware that they intended to hire Witherspoon, but they did say that they were going to take the team was going to take care of some things, and Witherspoon was going to be a big part of that. Witherspoon, she was a 5-time All-Star in the WNBA, 2-time Defensive Player in the Year, and she's got 10 years of coaching experience in both the collegiate level and in the NBA. One thing that I asked when the move was announced on Thursday, when it came out, and Annie was another friend of the program. We've had her on before as well. Annie was very nice and responded to my tweet and to the question I threw out there on X, and she confirmed that they are separated for the first time in Sky team history. They're separating the head coach and general manager role. So that would be my biggest critique of this move. They have not yet hired a general manager. They've hired a head coach, but they don't have the head coach's boss in place yet. And I want to be fair across the board because I've made this argument against the Bears in years past, in episodes past, and the same holds true here. You're doing it backwards. It's not to say that it cannot work, but you're doing it backwards when you hire a coach without a general manager. The general manager should be the one to make the decision on the head coach. Now you're in the position of you're bringing in a general manager, but they have no say in who the head coach, what would easily be the general manager's most important hire. They have no say in that for the immediate time being. So I would criticize the Sky for that. In defense of the move, CEO Adam Fox did say that the priority has been to hire the right people regardless of a timeline. I would say, by all accounts to start with, it does seem at least like Witherspoon is perfect for the job. All right, that is going to do it for our show here tonight. Lots of shout-outs and thank yous. Shout-outs, of course, to our sponsor, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to their website, planetjerky.net. They ship all across the U.S. Plenty of flavors to choose from. My wife likes the classic BBQ. I enjoyed the volcanic jalapeno, which is definitely on the hotter side of things, but they go hotter. They've got a Carolina Reaper in there if you really want to stomp on your taste buds with an anvil and just grind it in a little bit. You go for it. You do you. But they've got all kinds of great flavors and heat levels for you there. Check them out, planetjerky.net. Thank you, of course, to Larry B. All the hard work that you do here at the station, sir, it does not go unnoticed. Shout-outs and thank yous to everybody in the chat room. Taryn Rodriguez, who promptly got off the air from doing set point only to discover that his house didn't have power. Jumped back, didn't stop him from jumping into the chat room and interacting a little bit. Mike Pat for interacting during the chat room there. Davidson Crooks, Mikey Two Guns, Patty Backs. My mother for making a suggestion that will seriously make me just seriously have to contemplate giving up football if it were to happen. But I'm not going to say what it is, because I will not allow that evil to be spoken. Go running through the chat room and listen to the playback of the show. You'll figure out what it is pretty quickly. Thank you to everybody that hung out with us in the chat room tonight. Finally, thank you for being here and listening to the show tonight. I really do appreciate it, whether it was live here tonight or if you're catching it later on as a playback. Thank you for making me and this show and this station part of your sports week. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, everybody be safe, be healthy. Hopefully, we'll be talking about some good things with the Bears next Monday. Until then, bear down.